As Allied forces closed in on Berlin in April 1945, Hitler and his inner circle retreated to their bunker, bracing for the worst. Hitler had become increasingly paranoid and delusional in recent months, convinced that his own followers were plotting against him and that the war was lost. One night, as he sat alone in his private quarters, Hitler reflected on his life and the decisions that had led him to this point. He thought about his childhood, his failed attempts at becoming an artist, and his rise to power as the leader of the Nazi Party. He also thought about the atrocities committed in his name and the millions of lives lost as a result of his actions. Overwhelmed by guilt and despair, Hitler decided that he could not face the prospect of capture and trial. He wrote a letter to the German people, blaming the war's failure on the Jews and other enemies of the Reich, and proclaiming that he was taking his own life to avoid capture and dishonor. Hitler then took a cyanide capsule and shot himself in the head, dying instantly. But as the news of his death spread, rumors and conspiracy theories began to circulate. Some claimed that Hitler had actually been killed by one of his own followers, while others suggested that he had faked his death and gone into hiding. The controversy only grew when the bunker was searched, and it was discovered that Hitler's body had been burned, along with that of his wife Eva Braun, who had also taken her own life. Some questioned whether the bodies were actually those of Hitler and Braun, while others speculated about what might have happened to Hitler if he had indeed escaped. Years later, as historians continued to debate the circumstances of Hitler's death, the only thing that was certain was that he had left a legacy of destruction and terror that would never be forgotten. Whether he had taken his own life or met some other fate, the world would never be the same after Hitler and the Nazi regime. As the debate over Hitler's death raged on, many people had their own theories about what had really happened to the former German leader. Some believed that he had escaped to South America, while others thought that he had been killed by his own followers. Still, others believed that Hitler had indeed taken his own life, as the official story maintained. But regardless of what people believed, one thing was clear. Hitler's actions had left an indelible mark on history, and his legacy of destruction and terror would never be forgotten. In the comments below, let's practice our English writing skills. Write a paragraph in English expressing your opinion about what you think really happened to Hitler. Use evidence from the story to support your opinions, or write a short story or alternate ending to the story, imagining what might have happened if Hitler had made a different choice. Be creative and use descriptive language to bring your stories to life. Here is an example. I believe that Hitler did indeed take his own life, as the official story maintains. His actions and behavior leading up to his death suggest that he was a man consumed by guilt and despair. The letter he wrote, blaming the Jews and other enemies of the Reich for the war's failure, was a clear indication that he was trying to shift the blame away from himself. Additionally, the discovery of Hitler's burned